What is going on? What is happening with you, my beautiful people, my family? It's your boy Caleb here at Midway Vibes Chinwag Podcast. We got a very special guest, a strong woman, an author, someone who's just an amazing woman, and I'm happy to have her here. So thank you for coming on.
Thank
How are
you
you doing? This is Tracy Rodriguez. I totally didn't even mention her name.
Hi guys, Tracy.
Hi.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. How are you doing? How's your day been?
Good, busy but good.
Yeah,
On the go.
definitely. It's always busy days are always typically in a way good unless they're like super stressful.
Yeah, for sure. We stay busy for the most part.
Yeah. So I have a question for you because you did write a book, right? So
Yeah.
tell me about that.
To bring it. I forgot to bring it, but I did have a book frame. My book's called Half Truth.
Yeah.
And you read it?
Yeah, I did read it. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Thank you. You want to know about it? Or
Yeah. So
what
tell
it's
me.
about?
Yeah. So you tell me whatever you like to tell me about it.
Okay, so it's about two brothers and them. The older brother basically coming back to save his brother's secret from what he knows happened. So it's pretty much a Mexican family drama.
Yeah.
You know how that
Yeah.
goes. There's a lot of dramas, a lot of secrets in families, and he's basically just trying to cover up his brother's secret. And in order to do that, he needs to come back home.
Yeah.
When he does come home, it's chaotic. His brother's passing, and from there he has to figure out how to let him go and also keep the secret he knows he's carrying with him.
Yeah.
With his
It's
wife.
a cliffhanger like throughout the whole book.
Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I do.
Because
I read it in I believe I read it in 2 days because it was
yeah.
it was really good. Yeah.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are like, wait a minute, what happened at the end when you
Yeah.
finally get there and you're like, there's no more book. And book 2 is coming here soon.
Book 2 is coming.
Book 2 is coming, yeah. But yeah, so
Is there like an estimate date or it's in the works right now?
We're between letting it release in May or we're letting it release early July 2nd
Of this year?
of this year.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah, so
That's cool.
it's here, it's coming.
Yeah.
And so it's exciting. I know a lot of people are trying to go back and read part 1 so they could
Yeah.
follow up with part 2. But the aftermath of what happens at the end of part 1 will follow in part 2.
Okay,
So
nice.
that's where
And is that going to be the end, or is it is it in the air right now?
I think I'm ready to say bye to that chapter. Like I just wanted 2 books for those, and I want to work on multiple books. I have other things in mind.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
have a good one.
Do you mind sharing?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
So what happened is, in order to write about something, I feel you got to be very experienced, and it's like you got to feel that.
Yeah.
And I think when you feel that, your readers feel that, and especially when you're writing, you can really write something.
Yeah.
You feel it, you felt it, you'll know how to write it.
Yeah.
Well, so I did an experiment, and maybe it was wrong on my end, but I chose to do it anyway.
Yeah.
I had a guy talk to one person, and then I had another friend of hers add him, talk to him,
Yeah.
and he fell for it.
Yeah.
So he wasn't aware that these 2 females knew each other.
Yeah.
And he was talking to both of them.
Yeah.
So he thinks he's ahead of the game, and these ladies both know.
They know what's going on.
Yes,
It's like the
they
whole
know
plan.
what's going on. Yes.
Yeah.
So he's falling for it, and that's a real life experience that we're actually in the midway of still doing, and it's going to be put into my book.
Oh wow, nice, interesting.
Yeah.
That's a cool way. That's a cool way to
He's
put
over here
it.
thinking he's dating 2 people when they're playing basically him
Yeah.
all at the same time. So we'll see how he traps himself. He's basically trapping himself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he is because it does fall on him because like why would he even have? He should know. He shouldn't have that. Like he should know to say like I'm with someone, or he should leave the other if he wants to be with someone else.
So which one do you truly want to be with? Everybody's like, that was just wrong. You're messing up his life. No, he messed up his own life when he chose
Yeah.
to want to talk to multiple people, thinking these women don't
They
know
wouldn't
each
know,
other.
yeah.
That they would never know. So you're telling me you want to go on a date with her on Tuesday, but you're waiting to go out with her on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but I guess that's the dating world in 2022.
Yeah, definitely. It's a weird.
It's
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's not what it once was. Oh, we're
Yeah.
dating. It's just us 2, and
Yeah.
we're talking until that's over, and then it's moving forward. No, everybody's dating. You don't know
Yeah.
how many people they're talking to at one time.
Yeah, it's free game.
Yeah. Clearly.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm interested in writing on. So
Yeah.
we'll see how book 1 and book 2 play out. Half Truths is book 1, and Unfinished Business is book 2.
Yeah. So what made you want to start writing the half, what is it's half truths, right?
Yes. Book 1 is Half Truths, and the way that came to mind was I had read a book one night, and when I looked up the author to find out who he was and basically where the book came from, it said it came from Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wait, somebody just wrote this. He wrote about his life and how his wife had an affair. Mm-hmm. And he just took all his life experience and put it in a book.
Yeah.
And I just kept thinking I could have wrote a better fictional book than that. Because it was pretty boring. Or his wife's affair was pretty boring.
Yeah.
Like, I could think of a more interesting one and a better one with more things on it than this, you know? So I took my pen and paper and I just started writing, and Half Truths came so easily. I can't even tell you how fast I wrote. I wrote and I wrote and I wrote.
You
so
like
fast.
handwrit. You handwrit the original.
I have all the original notebooks that I wrote in, and when I would scratch something out and put to the side, like, no, I wanted to say this. And then I'm writing and writing, and it's getting so good for me. I'm like, wait a minute, I need to write this down somewhere else because I need to remember who's who and how, you know, like, how old is he?
Yeah.
Where is he? How old are they? What year is this going to be in?
I'm going to get a thing to write that down because I'm currently working on my own.
These are things like you need to know, because there's some readers who are detailed and they'll be like, but wait, didn't you say he was this age? And then you're like, wait a minute, what did I say?
Yeah.
So like,
and I feel like that takes so much time to have to find what you said, because I know there was times where, like, even myself, like, I had 3 different ideas and I'm like, which one did I go with after all? Mm-hmm. And then it like takes me forever to find the actual spot. Yeah,
so you want to write down things like your main characters, and that's what I wrote down. First I put my main characters, and I put them down, and I put characters. Like, Anthony is the main brother. Julian is the brother who's dying. Lena's Julian's mistress. And you got to remember all this. Yeah. You have to remember who said what, who said it where, how old she is, how old he is, how old the kids are, what month did it play out in. You know, things, timings, it all has to add up. Yeah. It comes down to going back and adding up. So I'm writing, and I got it all down, and I got the plot down for the most part, and I'm like, this is how it's going to happen, and this is what's going to happen, and this is how she's going to come to know about it. So you got 4 to 5 major people who need to be a part of that whole thing, but you don't want to just splat it out, so you want to make it set out, like spread out. You know, so
like not all at once.
Yeah. Yeah. You want it to be some
like
kind
the story could like roll out perfectly.
Yeah, and like so it's like, so I'm just writing, and the next thing you know, I had a book, and I was looking at it, and I think that book took me less than 3 months to write.
Oh wow, nice.
It took forever just to come out. Yeah. Because I didn't choose to do anything with it. I just remember holding on to them, and one day we were cleaning, and my husband said, what is this? Because he wanted, and I said, throw it away. And he was like, well, what is it? And I said, it's my book. I wrote a book at work, and I have multiple, not just one notebook. I had like 3 or 4 stacked. Yeah. And he said, you wrote a book? I said, I wrote a book, and I'm not going to do nothing with it, so throw it away. And then he read it, and he actually helped publish it.
Oh, yeah, nice.
He found the publisher. He typed it up for me because I didn't have the time to type it up. I only had time to write it. And he made it happen. Next thing you know, I had a whole book, and I was thankful and grateful for him and that, because he really pushed that book to come out.
Definitely, that's really thoughtful.
Yes, that was really considerate of him. Yeah. And then like Half Truths did actually really well. We sold over 200 and something books.
Oh wow, nice. Yeah. Were you like ever planning, like whenever you started writing, you never envisioned like ever selling it, right? No. I
just wrote it.
Yeah.
I was bored one night, and I was like, I could do this.
So you said like 3 weeks. So about how many hours did you put in of writing?
8 hours a night.
8 hours a night.
8 hours a night, and I worked overnight in a facility at the county, and I was locked in that facility for 8 hours. Yeah. And every time I got a chance, I would just take my pen and paper and I would write. And like I said, I look back at the books now, and there was so many ways it could have gone. There's so many beginnings. Like you said, you don't know where you want to go with it, right? You don't know which direction. But that book wrote itself, and I'll never forget that night I started and I put it down on paper. And when you have something interesting to write about and it starts itself, you don't have to sit there and think like,
It just flows naturally.
Yeah, my hand couldn't write as fast as my brain was going.
Yeah.
And it was scribble. I'm like, scribble because I want to make sure it gets there.
Yeah.
But it comes easily. And I'm not having the trouble writing part 2. It's just, I don't think it's, how do I want to put it? I don't feel part 2 is, I want to feel it the way I felt part 1.
Yeah.
That way my readers can feel it.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I'm not in it, then it's not going to be as interesting.
Yeah.
So to write part 2, I have to literally listen to music and get in character for everybody.
Yeah.
So on part
what
2,
kind of music do you listen to?
Yeah. Everybody's like, what is wrong with you? Why are you so sad? But you have to remember that Julian's wife, Gabby, she just found out he's been having an affair and that he has another baby. So you have to feel her sadness.
Yeah.
So I listen to music that relates to her.
Yeah.
Like Mexican music, like La Gran Señora by Jenny Rivera, Intrusa by Yolanda Del Rio.
Yeah.
Things like that make you feel hard, like, yes.
Yeah, like you're just feeling it.
Like you're feeling it. So I'm at work listening to this music and everybody's looking at me like, are you okay? Did your husband cheat on you? Now I'm getting in character, people.
Yeah.
And then there's Nick, the younger brother, he's young, and all he cares about in life right now is smoking, drinking, getting high. He's living that thuggish life. You know, he comes and go. He lives with mom and dad, but hey, he's straight gangster. You know, he's like, you know.
Yeah.
So you got to get in his mode, and coming from a girl's perspective, how do you write that?
Yeah.
How do you make somebody believe that you're talking about somebody who just doesn't care in life and who's thuggish and just wants to live on the streets?
Mm-hmm.
So I put rap music on, like Kevin Gates.
Yeah, Kevin Gates. Kevin Gates goes hard.
Kevin Gates, and I'm sitting there like,
yeah.
like,
you don't want to work out when you listen to Kevin Gates?
Kevin Gates, no, I'm in the mood. Like, I'm just like straight thugging with Kevin Gates.
Yeah.
And then there's my nephews put me on to Young Boy NBA.
Oh yeah, NBA Young Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm all pop, like sitting in control. And they're looking at me like, Rodriguez, what are you doing? I'm like, sorry, I'm in character. Is you want to feel that person. And then this part 2, they're in the army because she was in the army and that's where they met. So you got to take it back, right? And you have to relate in that way. So in order to relate, I actually went to the gun range and I shot a gun to find out what it was for the first time to shoot a gun. That way I could
you
write
can have that
about
experience.
It. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to write about something I don't know. So like I just try to get into character modes and go with them and be a part of it. And then it's funny because I guess I'm so dedicated to it and I'm so into it. I literally come out and live my life, and then I'm thinking, poor Gabby and poor Alina, and I'm like, these people aren't real. They're in your head. They're made of characters, but I feel them.
Yeah,
you know, and
definitely.
I want to feel who I'm talking about.
I feel like that's a gift.
Yeah, because I'm all like, poor her, poor them, and I'm like, no, they're not real. They don't exist.
But you've made them like so real in order to relate to them that they are basically real.
Yeah, somebody who's you can relate to.
Yeah.
To an everyday Mexican family that you say like, hell yeah, that's true. That's how we do it. You know, and that's right. They all live together. You're like, wait, you got all these grown folks in one house living with mom and dad. Yeah, because that's how it happens. You know, poverty's real for the Mexican family, and in order for everybody to afford something, especially the city they live in Dallas.
Yeah.
That's real. That's how it's happening.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to it.
A lot of aspects of life that you put into your book.
Mm-hmm. And there's a mix of English and Spanish.
Yeah. So that's definitely something that happens often between the Mexican family.
Yeah. So you're reading and a lot of people will be like, I don't understand Spanish. I'm like, but it's not a lot. It's literally sentences that interpret themselves in the book. Like once you pass it, you're like, oh, that's what they were saying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like, oh wait, I don't know what they're saying. But no, so it's things like that, everyday things that we're used to. Like a lot of people said, you put a lot of food in there. I'm like, Mexican recipes, mole, you know, like the bread, the sweet bread that we eat, conchas and stuff like that I related to. I'm like, well, because you want to feel it. You want to feel like you're in that moment with them.
Yeah.
And that's how you can relate to it, is if you know things that you see every day or that you're around yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
You'll feel it.
Because you got to be able to have like that rapport with the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then I got a lot of reviews actually, and I was pretty surprised that people took the time to write reviews.
Yeah.
You know, and to even comment on it. The book did sell mostly in Great Britain?
Great Britain? Oh, I think we'll know.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're still recording. Yeah, it is.
The book sold
a lot in Great Britain? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I was like, well, that was something.
Yeah.
That was different.
For sure.
I didn't expect my book to be in Great Britain.
Yeah. That's something I feel like that's something you can kind of brag about.
Yeah,
I have a book set
like,
that's in
what?
Great Britain.
When I saw the report of the Great Britain, who really bought 7 books in Great Britain, like,
yeah.
It was just, it was crazy to see that. And just other parts, like, a lot of people are asking me when we plan to go, what is it?
Audio? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I want to take it audio, I just don't know how to take it audio.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I wouldn't know either, but I feel like you'd have to have like just like people to help you record.
Yeah.
Get your basic like readings done. And then,
and you want to get people who feel it.
Yeah.
They're not.
They
just
can get
reading.
into character.
You could get into character, and they'll make it believable. So hopefully this year we'll put book 2 out, and we'll get book 1 in audios for those of you who like don't like to read and who want to just hear an audio. I have a lot of people say that. Yeah. If it was audio, I'd listen to it. If it was audio, I'd listen to it, because who really reads these days?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. We're like always on the go. Yeah. And audio is way easier because we just do it while we're working out in the car, just on downtime.
Yeah. So I hope hopefully, if I can, this year I can make that happen for the first book.
Yeah, definitely. That would be an amazing achievement to do. Yeah. So I do have a question. Mm-hmm. Like you were saying, like it flowed naturally. So did you ever have like a rough draft or a plan, or did you know how it was going to end, or did you just go and write as the pages went?
I just took to writing, and like I said, I know at one point I stopped and was like, how does this end without it being obvious?
Yeah.
You know, because you don't want something that's oh, I already can sum this up.
Yeah.
You know, you want somebody
like
to
you want
be
a
interested.
cliffhanger.
Yeah, you want that. And so I was always thinking of like when I read books, because I'm a reader, love to read. I'll read a lot of multiple different things. I'm more on nonfiction. Yeah. Because if you're gonna waste your time reading something, you're kind of like you better learn something.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm also fiction because I love stories. You love just to hear, different things. So I went back and I was like, when you read, what books are your favorite that make you think, I want to read the next book, or that was a good book because of the way it ended.
You go after the author.
Yeah, when you're like, wait, what other books do you have, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to feel. So that's why the way I ended it was the way I ended it. And I know I had a lot of people call me because a lot of my readers were my family and friends and people at my job, my coworkers. I had them call me and literally ask me, why would you end it like that? Tell me what happens. I need to know. I'm like, you don't know the author?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, don't call me. But no, and it's exciting for them to want to read part 2 to find out, what happened after that. Yeah. And that's why there even is a part 2, because of the way part 1 ended. Yeah. So that, and I always tell everybody, if you find her, share the book with her. Who's her? She's out there. Yeah. She needs to find the book. And hopefully one day she'll recognize herself and come forward. And maybe then we'll get to hear her side of the story, because it's only half truth. Yeah. So there's another part out there. Yeah. Definitely. So
you leaving me on a cliffhanger. I'm like questioning myself.
Like the book only says half truth. Yeah.
Were you purposely writing to leave it like that for her?
And the dedication is to her. Yeah. The dedication tells her it's for her, and if she ever came across the book, we await to hear her truth. Yeah. So we hope that one day we'll get the whole truth, because we only know the half of it. And book 2 is unfinished business, and the unfinished business is what didn't get said or what didn't get done. Yeah. So we'll hear from that. And In book 2, you finally get to meet Julian. Because in book 1, you didn't get to know him as a person.
Yeah.
You only knew what people were saying of him.
Yeah.
But you didn't know him.
Yeah, you didn't get to experience him the way you got to experience the other characters.
Else.
Yeah.
And so book 2 will bring Julian. He'll be alive in book 2.
Yeah, he'll be alive? Or like...
He'll be part... You're going back.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Backwards.
Like, because it was like a back in time, right? In book 2? Okay.
So you'll meet him. So you'll get to finally meet his character and see what he's like.
Yeah.
You know, and how it all became what it is today.
Yeah.
Who would you say was your favorite character? Do you remember?
I don't remember the character's name, but I think I would have to be the one that was coming. There was one of them that was coming, right?
Anthony?
Yeah, Anthony.
Mm-hmm. The older brother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was more... it was more hard to get along with. Yeah, so... I know a lot of people were saying they were team Gabby, and I'm like, there's no teams. Because they're Gabby and Alina are the two who were fighting. Well, not fighting, but the two women who were in love with him and clearly didn't know he was living a whole other life, you know?
Like having a double life.
And so a coworker, she's like, I love Gabby and I hate Alina, and how could he do that? And I'm like, ma'am, there is no teams. Do not make this a Team Gabby.
Yeah.
A Team Gabby situation. And then I get reviews that are like, love Gabby. She was great. And I think more so because a lot of people can relate to her. When you love someone, you truly love someone, you have to ask yourself, do you want to lose them in death? Or would you lose them to somebody else?
Mm-hmm.
And she made a choice.
Yeah.
She didn't want to lose him to anybody else. You know, so that wasn't the life she could live. She couldn't live knowing he would wake up and love someone else and be with someone else. So she chose to lose him in death.
Yeah.
You know, and I think a lot of women who truly love someone will be like, I'd rather see him die before he ends up with someone else.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were like, I could relate to her.
Yeah.
I'm like, good. I'm glad somebody relates to some kind of way in it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good though.
Yeah.
That's good that you're able to have that like connection with other people without, like technically like you were there in the present moment like writing, but it's like still like they're able to connect with the character.
Yeah, and I'm like I said, I'm just amazed that the book sold over 200 books.
Yeah.
I didn't even let alone I didn't even want one person to read it. 200 people. To think that 200 and more people have read this book, it's amazing. It's a great feeling and it's encouraging. A lot of my readers too who read book 1 are waiting for the follow-up, and we delayed it for a year because life happened.
Mm-hmm.
But Anna Ibarra, I have to give a big shout out to her because she wrote me and she told me I'm waiting for book 2 and I know when the time's right you'll write it, you know, and she just told me how excited she was to see book 2 come out because she really enjoyed number 1 and she could relate to it, and she loves to read books that she can connect with. Mm-hmm. And that really gave me the push I needed to say, hey, you know what, it's time to make book 2 happen.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate her writing and just saying those thoughtful words to get me where I needed to get back into the rhythm of writing.
Getting you back into it.
Yeah, and she did that. And so I'm excited. I'm excited that book 2 will be out this year, and hopefully it's everything everybody's been waiting for.
Yeah. So book 2 is completed already?
It's complete.
It's completed.
It's complete. It's just waiting on a release date.
Nice. So I'm writing my own book, so I do have like some questions.
Yes, go ahead.
So how is like publishing? Because in all honesty, I never really wanted to write a book, but then one night I was like, it would be so cool to write a book. And then it kind of just like passed my mind, and I was like, I can't write a book. Like, because I remember in elementary school they had an author go to us, and they made it sound so complicated. And they're like, she was like, I have a book that's getting published, but it's been taken down like 8 times, and it's barely getting published, and it won't be out until 3 more years. Wow. And she was like basically like, now looking back, it was like really a bad way to come and tell little kids
that you could do this.
Yeah.
I can tell anybody like it. You got a story, and that's I think a big part of me is I love to tell stories.
Yeah.
I like when I get together with someone, I'm like, I can tell you a story and I can keep you interested. You know,
yeah.
I can make it
tell
funny
me a story.
and I can tell you like, you know, I'll be like, let me tell you, and we'll start laughing, and then we'll be in the story, and the conversation can be held and on and going and going. So I love to tell stories, and if you can tell a story, you could write the book.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. It might sound confusing. A lot of people told me, how did you write a book? How did everything come together? You know, if you got something in your mind, go with it, write it, let it out, and then plot around it. Like, write it out, write whatever you're feeling that you're going to write about, right? And then take it and be like, okay, this is how I want the beginning to start, and this is how I want the middle, and then this is how I want the end. Once you got those three things, everything else is just details.
Yeah.
Just filling in.
Connecting the pieces.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you have a start, a middle, and an end, you're good because you know how it's going to start. You know where you want them to be at, and then at the end, you know how you want it to end. And you just have to write and fill in everything else. See, like, my thing was I wasn't too good about writing in details.
Yeah.
Trying to explain, like, what the hospital room looked like. You know, those are little things that add to your book.
Yeah.
I was more so like, let's get down to this and the drama.
Yeah.
Let me tell you who's who and how come he ended up here with her and, you know, those type of things. But you can do it.
Yeah, for sure.
And like I said, you want to write down your characters.
Yeah.
You want to know their age. You want to know their time frame. When do you want this book? Like this book took place. Now book 2 is going backwards. So I had to go back and recalculate and make sure that everything I said in book 1 would add up with book 2.
Yeah.
The time frame. And not overlaps it. Not,
Yeah.
You know?
So you had to make sure everything was aligned because it's basically like their whole world.
It's a real, it's real life. You know, they're not real, but it's real, you know?
Yeah.
So I had to go add months, dates. I had to give the kids birthdays. I had to give him a birthday. I had to, you know, fit in everything. And I'm like, okay, well, Anthony was born July something of 87, you know? Like, and he's not real, but he has to be real. Yeah. You know, so it has to fit in. So just if you write down just write down your plot and what you want the book to be about. And take a middle, take an end, and I think you'll have it. Because everything else is just detail. Yeah. After you know what you're writing about, it'll come to you. And another way that I also did it was I always put, I don't know if you noticed, so if chapter 1 started with Anthony, then chapter 2 would be Alina.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did notice that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was like different characters through the thing. Yeah. Yeah.
So like that made it also easier for me. Yeah. Because it wasn't like, oh, okay, let's just take a book and just write completely. It also let my readers know this is Anthony and this is how he feels about the situation and this is how he's seeing it. And then you go to part 2 and you get Gabby or you get Alina and you get Issa and you get different people. That way you're trailing along. You got like
the first person of every character.
Yes. Yeah. That way they introduce themselves. Yeah. And how they fit into the book and how they fit into everything that's going on. Because when you first start a book, you're like, I'm confused. Who's who, right? Like flipping, like, wait a minute, who's the main character and how does the book come along in the story? Yeah. But yeah, so it's just find what works best for you, find what you want to write about, and then run with it. Yeah,
definitely. So I originally because I didn't even finish telling you what I was gonna say. So I had originally just thought I was like I want to write a book, and then like the thought had left my mind, and I was like, okay, well that's it. And then you came out with the book, and I was like, no way, like she just came out with the book, and it still didn't like come across my path that I had said I wanted to write a book. It was just kind of just like something I had just thrown to the back of my head. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, that's super cool. She wrote a book. And then I was like still pretty amazed by it. And then I like still a year had passed. And then like recently, just a couple months ago, and I was like, I'm going to write a book. Yeah. And then like it came over me and I was like, I can't write a book. Who am I? Like, and then I was like, Tracy wrote a book. Like, I can write a book. And I was like, so then I started writing and then I didn't like the first story. So I was like, I don't know if I want to go with that anymore. And I did that like 3 or 4 times. And now I feel like I found my flow, like you're saying, like it just flows naturally, like.
And it comes, and you don't have to think so hard. Yeah. I know people are like, I get writer's block. What are you talking about? This story came. It was just scribble. But if you find something to write about that you're passionate about, or that you could relate to, it makes it 10 times easier to sit there and want to write about it. And I just kept thinking, if I could keep being interested as much as I am every day that I'm writing so fast and quickly, then my readers will be interested. And I remember thinking, well, you have to have like a slow down part where, you know, he has to be in the hospital and he has to be pretty boring. But then I'm like, I don't want boring because I want the readers to keep wanting to more. Read. Yeah. You know, and as long as the book seems like, oh man, this is good, this is interesting, you're going to get people who are going to, you know, relate to it. Yeah. So just find what you're passionate about. And like you said, it's flowing. Let it flow. Yeah. You know? Write it all down, then go back, reread, and find out I should move this here.
Yeah.
And I should move this here. There was nights where I wouldn't feel like writing only because my hand would get so tired. Don't forget, I wrote in books, journals for 8 hours. And I would just read it. And once I knew I loved it, like, I loved that part. I love that. I don't want to change that. And then there was things where I have cross-outs. Complete ones. Scribbled all over the paper. Side notes. Alina should say this. No, Gabby should say this. No, just things like that. Being in the car, I would think of something. I'd grab a pen and paper and just scribble real quick before I even lost it. Because you think of something good and you're like, oh, that has to, that has to be a part of it. So you're just scribbling and writing, but it'll come to you. It will. And I hope you do it. Yeah. I hope you do it because it's a great thing to say you accomplished. I never thought I was going to be able to say I wrote a book.
Yeah. And
that so many people read it and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I never thought that, and so I'm glad that my husband took the time to find the publisher, and he took that book where I was never going to take it.
Yeah.
It was in bags for years.
Yeah.
It was hidden forever.
He made it come to life.
Yeah, and I thank him for that. That was great, So and now because of it, there's a book 2, and there's more books, God willing, to come.
Yeah. And
you just gotta run with it and just do what you feel. And it'll get there. And I hope you do it.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like in a way, like I've been like I'm not as dedicated as you are. Like I'm slacking. Like.
Well, here's the secret. I got paid to write that book because I worked.
Yeah.
And I was stuck in a room for 8 hours with, doing my job, but I couldn't leave.
Yeah.
And so I'm secured for 8 hours, and I had nothing to do, and I just thought, why not get paid? I'm getting paid, get paid, and now I got paid even more for my book. And the best part is, not only do you get to say you wrote a book and you're an author, you also get the royalties that come with it. Maybe the book only sold 200 now, but who's to say in 10 years Netflix or somebody else will pick it up? Yeah. And then it's a chance at becoming a movie, or there's more to come from it. Yeah. And then at that, they're your royalties, they're your own words. You're the owner to your rights. So who knows what could come of these 2 books that I'm putting
definitely
out,
Yeah, life-changing opportunity.
Yeah, so like that's another thing. Like, what's the next step? Audio. What if somebody hears it on audio and is like, this should be a movie? Yeah. And then I have a movie out of something that I thought was nothing.
Yeah, that was in bags.
That's like almost trashed.
Yeah.
So do it. Don't. I mean, what's the worst that could come of it? Oh, you only sell 10? Okay, but I wrote a book.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Yeah, definitely.
You have that under your belt. You could, when it comes down to it, like, I wrote a book in my lifetime. I climbed a mountain in my lifetime. Those are great things to have.
Just to have that achievement under your belt. Yeah.
So do it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I will say, like, there's parts, like, I didn't realize, like, I didn't originally start like this, but now that I'm, like, writing more, I've, like, made it to where, like, a character is kind of like an emotion. And, like, the way the book is, like, there's a death scene, and I'm currently kind of, like, in that part. And I think, like, when I originally, like, thought of the idea, because I was kind of like you, like, I have, like, the idea before I could even, like, wasn't even at that part. Like, I was just way, like, along in my head than I was typing.
Yeah, but don't do that. Don't, and that's another thing, too. Like I'm saying, you don't need to sit there and write chapter 1 all the way to 26 straight. You really don't. Get the characters.
Just get, like, the main points of the chapter.
And just write, like, take a paper and say, chapter 1, I'm going to introduce so-and-so. Chapter 2 is going to be this. Chapter 3 is going to be this. And that's how you get your book all in one. Yeah. Instead of you sitting there after reading chapter 1 and being like, well, now what's chapter 2? Yeah. No, write down 15 chapters. Find out what those 15 chapters are going to be. Write chapter 1. Introduce my main character. Chapter 2. Send so-and-so here. And it makes it easier so you know what that chapter's about and you know what you're writing. Yeah. That's the easiest way.
Yeah, instead of
trying to write a whole book from 1 to 26. Yeah. Like, hold on, where's that? What did one say? No, I would, if I thought of something, if I thought of a clever line for one of the characters, I would just hurry up and grab my phone, a book, pad, anything, and just scribble down what I was feeling in that moment. Hearing a song will really make you.
Yeah, I listen to. I haven't thought of, like, using music with words, but I do use, like, classical music, like Beethoven and, like, super, like, the most recent one that I'm writing was, like, the death scene. So I don't know if you heard the song "Gloomy Sunday." it's like a super like low tone, like just I think it's a violin.
Yeah.
And I just had it on repeat for like I think like an hour, and I was going like hard, and then like after I like felt some type of way. I was like,
time to turn this off. Yeah, because you gotta get into it.
Yeah.
And like I said, just music alone, you will hear a song and you'll just be stuck on it and thinking about it, and then you're just ready to write.
Yeah.
You're ready to find it, and like that's how I relate to it, and that's how I have to start sometimes. But not every day is going to be motivating. Like not every day you're going to want to work on it. I just I have to find it too.
Yeah.
The second book was kind of hard to find myself in it, and so I would, like I said, I would have to play the music over and over, and then I'd be like, yeah, I'm just not feeling it today, and I wouldn't write if I wasn't feeling it for the day. I wouldn't write. Why?
Yeah.
Because if I'm just not in it, then my readers are not going to be in it.
Yeah.
Like, I need to feel it. I need to know everything I'm writing is coming. Like, I mean this.
Yeah.
I mean it, and I want you to read it like I mean
Like, you gotta have full passion in
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So, and then a lot of people are like, you're not working on your book today. Not feeling it, not in the mood, can't write. And I'm like, I can write, but it'll probably just be flat.
Yeah.
You know,
like, it won't have any, like, emotion to it.
Yeah. So, I'm like, I'd rather not. I'd rather feel it. So, this one took a while.
Yeah.
It was hard to get back in that mode.
So how was it? Was it just like that note that you had said you received, or was it like other things that helped you overcome that feeling?
The note?
Mm-hmm. The note from Ana Ibarra?
Yeah, I would look at book one and I would read it because I occasionally read it and I'm like, oh, I did pretty good.
Yeah.
I come back and read my own book and then I'm like, oh, poor her, right? But then I was like, follow up with it, just finish it, put an end to it.
Yeah.
Like, you know how you're saying, is there going to be more? No, eventually these characters have to say bye. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people, what they like so much were the characters, because I know a few coworkers told me, how did you come up with the names? They're so good, and the way you explained.
Yeah, that was another thing I was gonna ask
like
you.
The
Yeah.
names and stuff. And I'm like, well, the names Gabby. First of all, my first daughter should have been named Gabriella. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, I named her something else. So I'm like, these characters are my babies. So hello, Gabriella. Your name's Gabby. My second daughter, she should have been named Alina, and I named her something else. So I used Alina, and just names that I was just found related to the person. Like, and Anthony just seems so sophisticated. Yeah. Like, I think of Anthony, and I'm like, oh, the kid, he's smart. You know, like he's sophisticated. He knows what he's doing. Then I think of Julian, and I'm like, he's in between. Yeah. He could be okay, and then he's got that, like, I just want to run and do shit type of person.
Kind of like that edge.
So, you try to, like, if you think of an Eric, what are you getting right now? You know, like, or if you think of Jay, you're like, ooh, no, Jay who? Or, like, another one that I was trying to put in my book on part 2 was Hobby. And my friend, she was like, Hobby, and I'm like,
I feel like it's more of like a calm name.
Hobby,
I feel like safer on a hobby.
Yeah, you know, like, you gotta give a name to somebody it relates to. You can't give a name of, you know, with something you're used to hearing that's common, and then it's like, no, he's not that kind of character. Yeah. You know, you kind of know. Yeah. More than likely. So I would just try to give them names that went with their vibe. Yeah. Issa, I feel like she's that older type of sister who's just like that. Just like on you, and in the chisme. You know, yeah. Like, what did you hear and who did you hear it from? Yeah. And I think that fit her so perfect, you know? And then the mom and dad, of course, they're older, so you want to give them older names that you don't really hear in today's, you know? Yeah. You hear as an older woman of Gloria. Nobody names their daughter Gloria no more. Yeah. That I know of. And Pedro. Yeah. You know, that's older men. So that's how the names came about. So just figure out who you want your character to be and how you see them. Mm-hmm. And I had my sister tell me, when I read the book, I could see it. And I'm like, you could see it? She's like, I could see the hall they were in. I could see the mom. Yeah. She's like, I could just see it by the way you were describing it. I'm like, that's great that you had a visual. Yeah. And she's like, is that how Issa looks? I'm like, I'm not sure. I just wrote about her. Yeah. But, you know, yeah. I wasn't really like
picturing her.
Yeah, like, I didn't draw them out, but okay, thanks. You know, like,
yeah, she drew something.
You know, like, I don't know what Issa really looks like. I just talked for her. Yeah. You know, so it's great to hear everybody's thoughts on it. It's funny, but it's great, you know? Yeah. So yeah, just that's what I say. If you're gonna think of characters and names, think of your character and what type of person they are, and then give them their name.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
That's just what I did. I felt like, okay, who is she and what kind of person should she be? And everybody is different, and I wanted to relate to that. That's why Gabby, you hear so much about how she's dressed, what she looks like, so you get the kind of idea of what person she is compared to Anthony, because she keeps saying, this asshole.
Yeah.
This asshole is always slicked up. This asshole's like life together, and she's barely trying to pull it together, you know?
Yeah.
But you get that from what the type of clothes they're wearing to their character, to how they present themselves, to how they talk.
Yeah.
You could hear the difference when Julian talked, when Alina talked, when Anthony talked, and when and that's just how you word it. And a lot of people are like, you wrote it like that. I'm like, because that's how he talked. you know, like you want to know the difference between who they are and why she feels the way she feels towards him.
Yeah. To have that like that differences in the characters, so they can be like distinguished.
Stand
in a
out,
way.
So you know they're not all the same.
Because they're all uniquely. Because we're all unique, like as humans, so they have to be all unique.
Yeah, and everybody's like that. So it's a lot, really, and then it's just like I've heard people say, it's kind of hard to write a book. No, if you can tell a story, you can write the book.
Yeah.
If you can tell somebody a story and have them laughing or interested in what you're saying, believe me, that you could write a book.
Yeah.
Everything else, if you have the main point, everything else is just detail.
Yeah.
Where they went, what they did, so you can express your point, and the background. We were in a right room. There was flowers everywhere. Those are extra words for your wording.
Yeah. Just to add that like extra
just
detail, that spice.
Yeah, that's all it is. You know, getting to the main point is all you gotta do.
Yeah. So
I hope I'm reading your book next
year.
Yeah,
you will by the end of this year. By the end of this year, for sure.
By the end of this year, I hope I'm reading your book.
Okay, yeah, for sure, definitely. So what would you give, like, any advice, like either to me or anyone else listening that would want to start a book, and they don't know how, or they're scared to, or they're in the process of writing and they don't know how to like get it published?
Well, going back to like you were saying, like it's so hard these days. Like the girl said, it took 8 years, 3 years. This day in society is so easy to make anything happen. There's so much technology. There's so much social media.
Yeah.
It's easy to. Basically, got it easier than anybody else did back when they were writing a book.
Yeah, definitely. Then
it wasn't like
they didn't have the resources we have. Yeah.
Now we do. So they're self-publishing, so you can pay a company to publish your book, and they will put it out for you. They'll advertise it. They'll put it on Amazon. They'll sell it on other websites that sell books. You know. I say if you want to write a book, write it. It doesn't even have to be a novel. It doesn't. I was 500 words away from making my book a novel. Yeah. And my husband said...
What's the difference between a novel and a book?
So the book is just that you wrote under 4,000 words or so. Like it's so many words per novel. Yeah. And if you... I think it's 10,000 words. Over 10,000 words makes it a novel. Mm-hmm. A book is 10,000 and under. Yeah. So I was 500 words away from having an actual novel. And I remember my husband telling me... Do you want to revise it and go ahead and add 500 words and make the novel? I said, no, I have to have a second accomplishment. The second book will be the novel. Yeah. One, I wrote a book. Two, I hit the novel series. Yeah. But I could have, because like I said, detail. Yeah. The table was round. There was a drink on top of it. Those little things all add up. The little thing goes a long way. Yeah. And they make, they extend it. They give you more to read. Yeah. I had a friend tell me, she was like, I wish it was longer. And I'm like, really? She's like, yes, I wasn't ready to finish it. And I'm like, that's good. I'll make the second one longer. Thank you. Yeah. Because I feel like some people are like, come on, let's just finish. Yeah. And there's people who enjoy reading and actually want to read it. But if you do want to write a book, take a journal and a pen, or take your laptop and just start typing. And I say a journal and a pen would be best for me, only because I feel when you're at the computer, you're overthinking it. Mm-hmm. You're second guessing, and it's so easy to delete. Yeah. On a pen and paper.
I think that is one thing that I don't like. That there's like I change the story sometimes, and then I'm like, what did I say a couple sentences ago that I deleted? And then it's like gone.
Yeah. And on a pen and paper, you actually have what you were thinking and your thoughts right there. Yeah. And so like you said, later if you were like, wait, that was good, I should have saved that. Yeah. You have that. You can go back and look at it. And there's been times where I'm on the computer typing and just going with it. And then I go back to my notebook where I actually wrote something. I'm like, I forgot to add that, and that's good, you know. So I don't like the sitting at the computer and actually doing it. But I also know it's easier when you're wanting to get it done because you don't. The problem I had with number one was I wrote these in books, in notepad. I had to sit there with my husband and put them in front of us and type.
Yeah. So it's just like the time consuming
it was
after.
time consuming afterwards. Yeah. You know, the computer's going to save you the time while you're going. Yeah. But at the same time, if you want...
It has, like, the pros and cons of it.
Yeah. And I would prefer to sit down and write it. And when you have the book out in a journal or you have it already pinpoint down to where you want it, then you could just easily start looking for publishers. Yeah. And publishing companies. And when you find one that you truly want to go with, then you just submit it to them. And they'll tell you because they have to read it. They literally read your book and send back what they think needs to be edited, fixed, book cover. There's some other things that they ask you for. Yeah. And then when they do come back to it, they'll tell you when they approved it. And once they approve it, that's it. It doesn't even take a day for you to see it online. Yeah. So did your book like ever not get approved? Well, we waited like weeks. Yeah. We waited a few weeks, and I was kind of nervous because I was like, they probably said no, and they're probably like, this girl's crazy. Who told her to write a book? And sure enough, we just reached out to them because we hadn't heard from them, and it had been over a few weeks, and they ended up writing back saying they apologized that we did get approved and that they only took so long because they were out on a break. Their company was out on a break, and they missed it within that time period. Oh, yeah. So they did read it, though, because they want to make sure you're not copywriting. Yeah. Like, you know, that you stole somebody else's work. Yeah. So they read it, they approved of it, and then they just made a few edits, like to our book cover, to a few things that they had seen, and they asked a lot of questions like, are you sure you're okay with this? And did you like this? Mm-hmm. And they just help you out. And then once I said I was fine with everything, it went up within hours. We checked Amazon, like they said, and it was there. Yeah. Yeah. That was probably like an amazing feeling. Yeah, I know. I'll never forget the day we got approved and the day it hit the market, like that it came out. How did you feel whenever like you saw it on the market? I remember my husband telling me that he had submitted it. I was on the road actually going to Georgia that day when he had said he turned it in, and I was like, "What? Are you sure?" And I think I was more upset because it was like I didn't edit, I didn't proofread. He was helping, so I was like, I didn't proofread, I didn't edit, hold on, wait, what are you doing? And then got home, and then I waited the 2 weeks, and then when he called me in and said that it came back, they took the book, and I was just like, I was happy, we were hugging and crying, and I was thankful that he did it. And then, like I said, within the hour, it was up on Amazon, and I was just wow that I had my name on a book cover. Yeah. Literally, my name. I was like, there it is.
Not just Amazon, 15 other sites.
The 15 other sites. Yeah, multiple sites.
Yeah, so 16 sites total.
16 sites total. Bookstores carry it, and then we called our local bookstore because I wanted to know for sure it was true, it was real. Yeah. Have price books say yes, we have it. Yeah, nice. Wow. Like, I'm in a bookstore and I just keep thinking, I hope one day I walk into Walmart and it's there. Yeah, or Barnes and Nobles.
Yeah. Oh, was it Barnes and Nobles? Yeah. Oh, wow, nice. Yeah.
So I'm like, so that's, that's amazing that you could say that.
Yeah, I have a book in Barnes and Nobles. Yeah, it's pretty cool to say.
Yeah, that you could say, like, my book sells here. Or that you even have a book. Yeah. You wrote a book, so
yeah. Good. Someone has to relate somewhere out there.
Yeah. Like I said, Great Britain, I'm like, who are the people who bought that? Yeah. Online. Yeah. That you made that purchase, that something about my book caught your attention. Yeah. Say, hey, you wanted to buy it.
More. Yeah.
You wanted to read it, so that's amazing. Yeah. That alone was a great feeling. So it's good.
Yeah. So do you have any questions for me or anything you'd like to say to me or the people listening?
No, I think we covered everything.
Yeah.
I hope that you enjoyed book 2.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope that...
I definitely look forward to reading it.
Yeah, I hope it's everything. It took a minute, but only because 1 year was just on a break, and this time coming out is like it's time to release this one. So hope you enjoyed book 2 and that I can hopefully sit with you and we can talk about your book, my book.
Yeah, definitely.
The books in between, and have them here. Because I do have my books, I forgot to bring them tonight.
Yeah. We'll send me the links, and I'll definitely share them in the link down below, and you can check them out. Go check her book out. Half Truths. You already know you're gonna be stuck in that book once you start reading it. I really appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you guys listening, and peace out.
Thanks.